Well, just a few comments. You know, it's never good to have comments from a man who knows what we're talking about. And this Danish fellow over there, he knows all the system.
If you speak a little bit louder.
He had some very good comments. And I agree with him in many ways. We have gone from the bottom-up approach to the top-down approach for many reasons. And one of them is that our resources are limited as well in the foundation. And we don't think we should pay any longer the investment in new technology because, as you said yourself, the municipalities and the hospitals are actually the drivers here, and they shall be the drivers. It is the municipalities and it is the regions who must invest in new technology. We have a top-down approach. We are using our foundation now to secure evaluation and to make the technical motorway to secure technical platforms for this development. And that is very important. If you don't secure the technical platforms for this development, you won't get technology, IT, you won't get any longer, you won't get the place. So that's what we're using our foundation for these days. But when we choose some projects to work with, in large scale, to see if they have a positive business case, we do it in close cooperation with municipalities and regions. We don't find it ourselves. We use the knowledge they have in municipalities and the knowledge they have in regions, and in this way we can find new large-scale products to work with. So we involve the partners, as I think we shall do. Concerning economic institutions and concerning financial systems, you're right, there are problems when you work with e-health solutions. You have economic consequences for the community, the municipality as well as for the hospital. And we are looking at the legislation these days, and we are looking at the financial agreements we have in municipalities and regions and hospitals, and we are making some changes. Because that is a precondition for us to work with these kind of solutions. Yes, and do anyone wants to agree with the comments from what was his name? This is about cross-sector work. When we talk about these kind of solutions, we work cross-sector. That is the great advantage about this, and that is not really complicated to work with. This is why this foundation is in the Ministry of Finance. Because, as you mentioned before, the Minister of Finance usually takes the money away. Here they're giving money out. Why? You see, we can get cooperation between regions and the municipalities. And we are the strongest ministry in Denmark, so we can do this, and we have done it. If we place this foundation in the Ministry of Social Affairs or Ministry of Health, we wouldn't have the resources we could achieve. This is one of the reasons. The other reasons is that we are focusing very much on business cases. As I said 100 times, you know that we focus on very much on the results of what we're doing. We want documentation, and this is also the reason why it's placed in the Ministry of Finance. But we are looking at the problems that you mentioned. And this is about cross-sector, and this is the difficult thing about it, that's what we're working with. Now, about social isolation, and Border, I do completely agree. Working with the Living in our commission, you can see that elderly people who are living in social isolation, who has no social relations to the world, they have a very reduced, fast reduced functional level, and they get very quickly older and older. So we have said something, as you said, why not use this, we have as learning instruments for these people living in isolation for elderly people. And actually they use elderly people to help elderly people. Those who have worked with IT and ICT when they go on pension, we have some voluntary organizations who take them in, and they work privately and on a voluntary basis with elderly people who can't manage the IT problems themselves. So they teach them how to solve the problems on a voluntary basis, and it gives solve also some of the problems of social isolation. And then we do have some solutions, welfare solutions, where the elderly people can get in contact direct on the TV, with on the TV it's alone, on the scales, afraid of using the TV, with the municipality, but also with the family. So they can do direct things to talk to your families, particularly whether the family are, whether the children live in Australia, in Lithuania, so that helps a little bit about social activism as well. But we use voluntary work here, and we use voluntary work very much to fight social isolation among people, because that is that situation to be in. And that does actually give some positive results. Well, I think that's about it.
Thank you. So according to the agenda, now I need to summarize a little bit, but it's rather difficult because the summary will be based on your questions. Because your questions will be, and the answers will be the actual summary. Because I guess nobody disagrees that it's an enormous effort. And to be honest, sometimes you envy to the Danish government that, I mean, these guys are quite smart in making the decision. I would say, maybe I'll try to give a small summary of what Lithuania was smart. But unfortunately, it lost a little bit its smartness. Lithuania was quite smart, some maybe 6 to 7 years ago, to create one of the first in Europe e-patient card. And that was done by the largest hospital, or maybe the second largest, I don't know which one is the largest, Thomas Børner, but that was done in Vilnius Santaškas clinic. E-patient card, and now that these guys who were going all around Europe, presenting in different conferences, everybody said, wow, that's great. Some 10 years ago, Lithuania had a lowest internet penetration in EU. The nice project of Window to the Future was born. And in fact, it was an educational process, mainly of the elder people and people who are unemployed and they have no motivation in their lives, at least for the time being. They've been free of charge educated, and it took not more than 3 days, and these guys they started to use email, Skype, and they started to enjoy their life again. So a lot of these kind of nice, good examples. Then I mentioned also about this project, which was called Information of the Real Baltica, where we said that we need to supply the broadband to every home, and at that time money was in the pocket. But what I think that based on a lot of smart solutions which you need to pick up from different regions and districts, and sometimes maybe schools and universities and homes, when it comes into a big pot, I think on top we do have not mature enough the understanding where value sits, which topics to take out, and then put, a large investment, both social investment and financial investment, and whatever investment needed. So I think this is probably the biggest, the largest, let's say, the bottleneck of what we have in the country. But again, that's my opinion, because I'm completely independent. I can express it, without any political weight or whatever. But that's mine. So as a moderator, I'm actually telling what I think. I'm saying that I'm envy to Danish colleagues that they have been progressing so nicely. And I'm also telling that sometimes when we think it's too difficult, remember that Kaunas Technological University, already a few years ago we have not finished yet, but we have started this voice recognition. Voice recognition is probably not a very far future in Japan, in the UK, I mean the countries which speaks English, German, French, Italian, Japanese, maybe Chinese. For such a small country like Lithuania, voice recognition probably will not be something which we can buy in the market. You need to do it yourself. But this will soon come. This will soon be as usual as to buy a piece of milk in the supermarket. That's it. That's it. You just get a small bandwidth on your hand. I want to measure my blood pressure. Done. It goes to the cloud, and then it can spread to the Copenhagen clinic, or the Vilnius clinic, or the clinic in Tokyo. It depends on your how much are you paying for your insurance. Done. So the message is that we need to look at this, maybe not copy 100%, but it's fast. We need to be fast. I don't know the statistics. In Denmark, the statistic is quite heavy. In 5 or 6 years, 75% of people will be already in pension. Maybe it's a little bit less in Lithuania, but still it's quite a substantial percentage. So based on this, now it's the floor for the questions. And again, thank you very much, Thomas. It's really great.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you very much for a very interesting presentation. I would like to ask you how...
If you would say what is your name and position?
Yes, my name is Jurgita Šužinienė. I'm from Polish University of Technology, Department of Public Administration. So I wanted to ask you how you're dealing with possible increase of unemployment, because anyhow, digital technologies, they are changing human resources, yes? So what's the policy in this area? What's the policy of the government? I don't know, maybe we can go for...
Just to be sure, what the question was about money?
About raising possible, I mean, some people, they are losing jobs because of digital technologies, yes? So how you're dealing with this issue? You're surprised?
That's for Thomas, or if it's not for Thomas, then you specifically say it's for
Yeah, because it's for Thomas, but maybe some more questions.
No, but of course it's a problem, it's a specific problem. We had a foundation called labor saving technology before we call it welfare technology.
Yeah.
Because then the organization, social partners said, what are you talking about? Do you want us to be active, participating in labor saving technology? Do you really want that? What do you think they said? No, I just showed them some of the things I showed you. In the next 5-6 years, a lot of these colleagues will go to pitch. And I could tell them, okay, if you don't use this technology, you will have to work about the double as much as you do now. Would you like that? Or would you prefer to work with the same intensity today and produce more welfare service with the same intensity? Because many of your colleagues will not be on the working place next year, they are going for pension, and we won't be able to recruit all these people who are going for pension. And they said, okay, we accept to work with welfare technology. And they have done it ever since. They think it's a good idea. They are not getting out of the job because we need some way. We have problems now because of financial crisis, we all know that, but someday it's not that much. So heavy. So we need, in the future, we will have a lack of labor. We can see that on the demographic development, and we can see that in the pension schemes. So, no, I think it's a good idea. They won't get on-the-job injuries. They'll get easier jobs, and they will be able to produce much more welfare than they are today. And the like.
From your side,
Yeah. Do you want me to go? Okay, just it's a very, very interesting question, and it's a very, very important question because countries are at different levels with regards to technology and with regards to motivation. So in Denmark, it's accepted that you need to make a more effective public government, and that means probably you'll have to have less hands, less people there. So in Denmark, we can say it. It's all about involvement. So I can speak from the perspective of a public government. I've just been there. I've worked there. So it's very important that everybody understands why are you working with welfare technology? Why is it important? And how does it affect your job? So when it comes to actually cutbacks, actually laying off, it's actually primarily done by natural leaving. So there's a natural turnaround at staff. It's about 10% for front personnel staff. It's about 10% every year that we change staff. So most of the savings are done by simply not hiring new people when they leave. So it's very, very few people actually being laid off as a result. And it makes it easier because it's very difficult. It's very difficult for the decentralized managers to say, okay, we need to do this technology, it saves me 1 million, that means I have to fire 3 people. That's very difficult. But if they just say, okay, we can't hire new people because we got this technology and it does the job, we don't have to work more, we now get a technology. So that's much easier. So it's all about involvement. Everybody understands how we're doing and why we're doing it. So that's how it works in Denmark, but you can't do it in the same way in the other Scandinavian countries because they're not quite as motivated financially yet. So you can't say welfare technologies is about effectiveness and saving money. You have to say it's about quality. It is. We hope we improve quality, or we do improve quality, but it's also about cost effectiveness. So we are at different levels in different countries.
Thank you. So I think the question was from there, then it's
I'm sorry, if you let me say very short comment, because I have to go to Vilnius to another meeting, and so I'm Giedrė Purvaneckienė, member of parliament, and as it was said about political affiliations, I am on the left, I'm social democrat, and very well for that I wear this jacket, always to be recognized as relevant. So, first of all, thank you for a nice presentation. It's a little, if you talk a little louder, it would be even better than excellent. And I don't feel that there is so many barriers here in Lithuania for that, because thanks to you and other people working in this field, we are not so, we are quite well with IT technologies, and I think that maybe or not on that scale, but it's possible to follow your example. I believe that it will be successful. Except of course, that is money. Money is always scarce, much more here than in Denmark. You mentioned that you have for this perspective about 12 billion Danish crowns, that means about 6 billion Lithuanian litas. So I remember we had about 2 billion for this whole program in form in this perspective of 2007-2015, and for the whole science and technologies in together with implementing this to businesses and so. And it was like huge achievement. This 2 billion. It was like priority for the other sectors were offended because this money were allocated there. So I think that it's to implement fully what you were talking. It's a little bit. Probably we will not be capable financially, but the ideas, of course, are good. And the last remark is it's a pity that Professor Gaušas left. What he told, I must say that these remarks were misleading, and as you know, and probably you know, that what you were talking about achievements, it was done, was left-wing government, the achievements in IT technologies were, these achievements were achieved, sorry for this language, and I don't see any barriers if this current Minister of Health discovered some misusing by private hospitals or private doctors or private drug companies misusing of public money, all our money. That does not mean that, let's say, left-wing government is against private sector. Who implements this IT technologies? In e-governance, in e-health? Of course, the private companies, and nobody is against that. And they collaborate with universities, which is state-run. So I don't see any, I don't know, this remark I think was absolutely not to the topic. So I must say that. And I'm very sorry, but at 6 I have meeting and Vilnius, so I have to go. But thank you once more, and thank you for organizing.
Thank you. So this was probably more as a comment, yes?
Yes, that was the comment.
So,
comments. And
no
I'm
questions.
sorry.
My name is Thomas Børner. I do represent the Lithuanian University of Health Sciences, former medical university, as you know. I don't know anybody from the table except Simonas Gaušas from virtual reality, and Antanas Zabulis also from virtual reality and mass media. But my question is to the Danish colleagues. I have two very short and clear questions about welfare technologies. Is it really true that welfare technologies in Denmark is understood as digitalization of healthcare system? Is it really true that welfare technologies mean digitalization of social care? Is it really true that it means that digitalization of human relationships in Denmark? My first question. The second question about education. We are preparing future doctors and nurses. I'm interested to know how is the system of education in Denmark contributing to educate former or future students and nurses because of digitalization. That is fantastic thing you are doing in Denmark, but how is it connected with education preparation of future students? And the third is maybe comment. I think that because of digitalization or other reasons, you're losing Nikolai Frederick Severin Grundtvig. You're losing Pop-Lusning. You're losing a fantastic Danske Uddannelsessystem. You're losing Søren Kierkegaard. You're losing Hans Christian Andersen, but you're gaining digitalization. That's my comment. Thank you.
It's time for the answers. That's
Another question.
a small comment, because I think it was rather emotional, but on the other side, the human touch, which is sometimes or maybe always necessary when interacting with the patient and the doctor, it seems like doing this, digitalization could disappear. So maybe that's some small comments on this.
I'll give just a small comment. Well, we are not losing we are not losing the contact between the patient and the doctor, the personal contact. But we are losing it where it is not necessary. Where it is not necessary in the digitalization creates a gap between the doctor and the patient. Because otherwise the doctor will lose a lot of time on talking to situations that shouldn't need to be done, they don't need to be. So we are not using digitalization to not have communication between patients and doctors, of course. But we are using it in the situations where you don't need this communication. So the doctor can concentrate, or the nurses can concentrate on where the problem is now and help those people who have this level. I think that's quite in the spirit of making facts here and principles. We say, use resources where they are most needed, and don't use them where they don't improve them. And we can see from experience by our citizens that they really do like to work with these digital solutions because they can improve their own health, they can see the results of what they are directly doing. They can work on the job, they can be at home, but they can see the picture results of having a more healthy life than they had before. We can risk it, and they like that. They will be more accident. So they can use the time to make their facts hopefully and as personalized. But it is not only about digitalization, so do some examples. And these examples give the citizens self-confidence, empowerment, and they believe in their own resources when they work in these activities, these web activities. So it's not, we see it as a win-win situation.
On students' education.
Concerning education, it is an education schemes for trained workers for delivery, and for nurses, we use education of what technology uses and how to digitalization. So maybe it's an education system for those who need to use it. Otherwise, for the succeed, otherwise,
Just a quick example from the municipal world. In Odense, where I used to work, we introduced video visits instead of personal visits for home care staff, not nurses, but home care staff who came to do pill boxes and remind them medicine, remind them food, and all the stuff that we could do via video. We did via video instead of personal visits. And actually, it was a trial with 50 citizens, all older, elderly visitors, and none of the 50 wanted to go back to personal visits. And all of them actually preferred talking to the nurse on the video rather than the staff that still arrived with the phone. Because it is, in Denmark, it's not, you don't get the same staff for every visit. It's a big group, so you can risk having 7, 8 different people into your home every week. So this was very personal, because there was only 1 or 2 nurses in the video, so it was a very personal touch to talk to this person. There was a far higher degree of trust going on between that relation. Also, when you only do a video visit, it's very intense. When you do a physical visit, you walk around, do other things in the home, and you chat while you're doing your chores. When it's one-to-one on the video, it actually seemed more personal to the elderly. So we actually got a very much more surprising result than we thought we would on the personal level. Also, what you have to remember is this is not something that we do because we think it's fun. This is to avoid podcasts. So what is the real alternative? The real alternative is not physical visits, because they would just be cut away. So this is giving them something that they would otherwise not have gotten, because we would have to cut it away for savings.
Can I relate a question to what you just told? My name is Gytis Sivulskis. I'm Kaunas University of Technology Learning Technology Center. And regarding the video and this kind of services, how you implement, is it based on your own infrastructure? Do you implement your own video servers, video services, or do you rely on the consumer technologies such like iPhones, iPads, and how you deal with these different technologies available on the market, because they are very different and you can't put on one technology. So this main question.
I'll give you an answer to that. First of all, the content is developing the digital infrastructure. That isn't necessarily optimized as well. Try to do it such a way that the users can use their own applications.
Yes.
Because they're used to use them. If they have iPhone, iPads, they prefer to use that, they can use that. If they have other items, they can use that. We try to say the citizens must use what they are used to use. Mm-hmm. So we try to create infrastructure that can cope with these challenges. So they don't have to buy new equipment, they don't have to buy anything that never worked before. We prefer not to work with what they're used to and try to use that.
But do you solve this on the basis of providing the applications for different platforms? Or do you build the services on your side or on the service side that can deal with different applications and different...
That's where we build it, that can communicate with different applications.
Okay.
So in practical, in the municipalities, what we do is we don't build anything ourselves. We're a public body, so we buy a service. Mm-hmm. So we say, we make like a tender saying we need this product, and whatever product needs to be able to talk to every whatever application or whatever platform that we think the citizens have. And so there's different ways of doing it. Ideally, we'll do as Thomas suggests. That would be the best, that would be the cheapest. Not every elderly person has their own platform, so obviously we'll provide them with a platform. Because if it's a municipal service, that means that we have to provide the service and if we provide that service in a new way, then we have to ensure that they're able to receive the service in that way. So obviously we will provide them with the technology necessary to actually do it. And when it comes to IT or video phones, video conversations is very important. The IT safety is very important. We have a very strict regulation on this in Denmark. So what the municipalities often do is create one-to-one secure lines so that there's no access to the internet or access to anything else than just this service, just to ensure IT safety. That answers the question?
Yeah, more or less.
I think the question is a little bit more because in the there is a case that every clinic they have their own IT department. And they try to develop everything by themselves, including the application to the end user. So you probably was willing to get an answer that it should be a certain standard. And then based on that standard, all hospitals, they should use that standard, but use the so the connection with the end user in their own way. But if one clinic would like to take the information about the patient from another clinic, that should be amended. Because right now you need probably even maybe to do some financial transaction to get the data. But, sorry, one question, then it's yours. And then.
I'm Simonas Gaušas from the Nordic Council of Ministers office here in Vilnius, or there in Vilnius. I have two questions. One is when you, Thomas, you were telling about your foundation and support to, and financial support to the projects on innovations. Was there any requirement for the funding from the private sector? I mean, was it supposed to be a joint funding from the state and through the foundation and the private funding? My second question is to, I don't know, any one of you is connected to the nature of digital technologies. And one advantage of this technology at the same time as a disadvantage in this case maybe is that it's changing extremely quickly. And we all know that any solutions in the public sector, they are time consuming. I mean, you need a decision, then you need a tender, you need a plan, and when you start to implement a big project, the technology is most probably already too old for that. How can the public sector together with the private sector deal with these issues? Thank you.
There is more question now.
Yes.
Well, how do we involve the private sector? When we had these bottom-up solutions, it was only everything from the public sector that we
Only.
but every solution, every company has to cooperate with private companies, and they do it themselves. They will have to find those private companies who will go into this project. So they use their system, and hospitals use the tendering system for access to people in this project. The other question is a bit interesting.
There really is no really good answer because it is obviously a problem. Technology is changing, and it is a big problem for us, especially that tendering process is long. So what we normally do is we do an evaluation. We follow Thomas's advice, then make a very thorough evaluation that takes about 6 months. And then we have to wait another 6 months to finish the tender. And then it's been a year since we started, and another project that is better has come along since then, and we start over. So it is a problem. I don't see any good solutions other than closer collaboration with the private sector. Public-private partnerships and public-private innovations are a good way to ensure that the public part knows what's going on in the market, what are the trends, where are we going, how do we solve our problems together, because that ensures the cutting-edge technology in the municipal, on the public side. So social collaboration with the private market is important. But also it wouldn't hurt anyone to give us better tendering options.
Just from my experience,
Just about the tendering, even the Commission has realized that the rules they have about tendering are too complex and too complicated to work with, so they're trying to make it a little bit better. My question is working with partners try to see if you can maybe process and see what fits it and we are trying to come to the strategies so it doesn't be fast. So we're trying to cope with this problem. And the commission is doing that.
Somebody want to comment?
Yeah, just what from my personal experience. And we talk about the hiring infrastructure. Yes, it's true, it changes quickly and we establish it roles after 2 years. But when we talk about the software, for example, an open source would be a solution. And also the forms of tendering and such, we have to change. The new forms of cooperation with private sector need to be established. One of the examples to show the outline was in the US when one of the US government agencies hired programmers, private programmers, for 1 year to work for the government on the personal contract, and they brainstormed solutions for different public services, and they wrote apps for different public services, and the result was a lot of money saved, public money saved in a number of areas. So it's an example of how we could change in forms of cooperation. Of course, it's very difficult and inert process, but it can work.
I see another angle which could be a little bit of a problem because the member of parliament, she mentioned that it was so much money coming from the EU and its structural funds, etc. I will not mention the names, but I think it was 2 hospitals. One hospital was using the structural funds and another hospital was trying to use their own resources because the resources were quite constrained for that. The difference for the same application was about 3 times. So when you get money free of charge, in a way you have a big task how to absorb as much as possible. So in a way this is probably not sometimes the best way of executing. The second thing, I think I would be right if I would put, the 10 top IT companies in the PA, and I would ask them the question, what do you need, guys? Maybe 70-80% will tell I need more office from the government. Meaning that the government, when the money comes in, it is a lot easier for the hospital, for the institute to take that money instead of getting that money to the private sector, and for them to make this solution cheaper, faster, and more reliable. That's again my observation. The question.
I'm from business consulting company. I was working with some of you here. I have my remarks just about please don't digitalize everything because really we want to be here not to watch on TV all the conferences. I have the same idea also as colleagues said. And the other thing is, of course, our mentality. When Simonas said that our really public sector still thinks that technology, these decisions are extra work, not our daily work. That's one of the biggest problem now. And I agree really with Jurgita that usually we understand that technologies means losing your job sometimes. I understand that question when she mentioned. And my question is that you almost answered it now when you answered the colleague's question about, you said about cooperation, business and public sector, and then one idea comes from one side, the other idea comes from the other side. Let's take even your example about these technologies of lifting people and so on. I was working with sector also, so I know what it means. And if there are some ideas, if it's okay if it's one idea, new innovation. But if it's 2, 3, or 15, almost the same ideas, and how are you choosing them, and what are the criteria of the most effective solution, innovation? That's the problem, I think, because usually, if maybe somebody will agree, maybe all or not, that many ideas from business are coming. But they're coming not the only one, they're coming 5 or 10 of them. And how to choose and how to pick. And is it only tenders and how it works? If you understood it.
Well, you talk about technology as extra work. It's just an extra work. but we try to integrate it in the way not really things.
It's just mentality.
In the management thing. So it's not next to it. IT is not next to it. It makes your job easier. And you have to work with it and think, otherwise you get out of the job in a few years. So we have to work with it, and it's not next to it. It's actually the opposite. If you think that the management will think that way, and the business will think this way. Now, how do we choose the solutions? We do not say that you should use a specific hoist system. We just say, we can see, and if you use this hoist system, you will save so and so much. And you will have efficient gains. Then you have tendering systems that solves which kind of systems do you use in this municipality, and you might use quite another kind of system in another municipality. But the case is that the way of doing it is
I'm asking about service providers. How are you choosing them? Service providers. How are you choosing them for new innovation technology and technique to use?
In a good case, it works like this, like the public authority or the public provider goes out and says, we have some problems here. We want somebody to come and help us to solve it. And that could be from the researchers, from the universities, and that can be private companies. We say, okay, we have a solution here, and they talk to each other and find out which company they want to use to produce the solution. But the companies work together. Really often finishes in these areas when it's about innovation. So we can see companies that work together about solutions, about finding out solutions. So it's not a big problem. We have some regions have platforms where the institution can give a description of the problems, and then everybody can go in that platform and say, okay, I think we have a solution here, and our private company can say that solution. So they interact between themselves.
Your question?
Just a quick comment. So generally, public authorities tend to buy commercial products. And so what I also hear in your question is, how do you go from idea to products with a public body? Was that also in your question?
Yeah.
Just one of the things we're working on, or one of the interesting projects in Denmark is pre-commercial procurement. So pre-commercial procurement is procurement where the public body pays for the development of the product. So the public body will say, we have this problem, could be lifting, and then they invite tenders in, and they choose the 10 best tenders and pay them to develop a solution. So it's an exclusion model where you choose the best one. So it's one of the ways to encourage development based on a identified need. So it's one of the easier, more innovative ways of procuring technology.
I'm Gabriela KTU, the Department of Sociology. Thanks for all the presenters. The presentations are very interesting. And my brief question concerns the experience in Denmark and concerns the very good innovative ideas that have been started under some projects, and how to develop these ideas then the project is finished. Actually, in Lithuania, we have several cases when very good idea is developed under the project, but then the project ends, everything stops. So maybe you have some insights from Denmark.
This is one of the problems. And this is one of the problems we worked with when we started with our foundation. Because we have many good ideas and many good problems. Municipalities there, and we turn out to have good results. And then we try to persuade others to do the same and we work problems. This is why I say you must have a really strong political mandate, otherwise you can't solve the problems. And in Europe, this is a big problem in EU. We have really many good problems in EU, and it will be pilot projects and many You must have a very strong human from all the parties. And if you have that, and you believe like what we're doing, we produce more efficiency and more quality. You document it and have a strong mandate, then you can get the solution. If you don't have that mandate, you can just do it. That's our experience.
It's also it's also a mentality that if you get paid to do something, then you're in it. And as long as whenever the funding stops, then you don't want to be in it. So it's also, if you go into a project, you have to consider that project as if you were paying for it yourselves. So there has to be some reason for you to be in that project. Too many projects get started with people working there to get the funding. That's just a side comment for the EU. That's very often EU projects in my experience.
Yeah.
On the technology, on the welfare technology part, I would say the problem in the early years, it's very true. We had a lot of projects that didn't really go anywhere. The idea might have been okay, but we didn't really take it to the end. And that was very much because of the lack of understanding between the private and the public partners. So the public partners didn't really understand the energy and the resources it took to finish a project. And the private partner really didn't understand the complexity of the public demand. Because when you do technology for human beings, when you test that in real life, you get new complications. Every single time you get new complications that leads to further developing. And the understanding just wasn't there from both sides of the projects. That was my experience in many of the startup projects. But I think as time has progressed and as we've done more projects, the understanding is better now. And the private partner sees a bigger potential market, and we see better solutions. You only need a few success stories to get more involved, to get more engaged, and be willing to take more risks, because it's also a risk question. It's a risk to use taxpayer money, and it's a risk for the company to develop something that you don't know whether you can sell. But I think as the market matures, it gets easier.
More questions? The gentleman, he is responsible for the digital agenda. So that would be
not me myself.
running institutions.
I'm vykęs. I'm acting director of Information Society Development Committee under the Ministry of Transport, and I think that I would like to make a few maybe comments, not questions, about labor redundancy effect that the tendencies of Gardner by year 2020 says that yes, we will face that scenario, that the optimization or the digitalization will one of the effects will be on labor, and yes, we will have such problem, I think. About the solutions to deploy electronic services or IT solutions faster, I think that cloud computing is also one of the how to say areas which can faster the deployment of those solutions. Because, for example, in Lithuania, many municipalities do not have very well well-developed infrastructure, and they may use centralized infrastructure for development or for creation of their IT solution. So that's one of the ways how to make the process more effective. About situation in e-medicine in Lithuania or e-health, yes, we had a failure there. I think that the reasons for that was no strategic approach to the question. I can say there was no standards statewide. There was no coordination of the process statewide. So I think that now we have that. We have strategic approach. We have some standards for data exchange and etc. And we are implementing those projects. And I hope that by the year 2015 we will reach our goals in that sphere. And what else? Yeah, when we speak about healthcare, we had such situation, not very good situation in Lithuania about 1 month ago. The IT solution wasn't working how it was suspected to work. So the I am talking about the how to say triangulation services for the police, how to establish the emergency. Yeah, emergency services. And I think that there is one more aspect that should be taken into account. When we speak about general e-service, for example, tax declaration, if that e-service doesn't work or doesn't work for a short period of time for some reasons, it doesn't affect our, for example, health or our life. It doesn't have such impact, but there are e-services or IT solutions that impact our health or even our life very directly. And there is, I think, that thing is the one that should be taken into account also when we speak about e-services or IT solutions in such area. So that's from me.
Thank you. Any more?
No, just to say we agree. I agree with you. If you try to implement big IT solutions, it never works. That's my experience. Not in the first place. That's why I said we have to be quite sure when we implement and disseminate new solutions. We must be quite sure that it works, that it's a new technology, and that it has the outcomes about what is in the business. It must be a solution that functions. Otherwise, you will ruin the system. Because then people will lose confidence in the system. It doesn't function. When we take the old-fashioned way of working away and take the new system, it doesn't function. Then we go wrong and wrong. It must play.
Thank you. I think we are already like 15 minutes behind the schedule. And it's in a way good because it was also some 5 minutes for me to make a summary, so I don't have any time to make a summary. I can make only one small statement that you should not think that e-medicine will change the traditional medicine. It will never happen. But when we talk about the e-medicine, we are talking on how to help the person to get extra through the tools which are available for digitalization. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter in which country you are, but you will never be left with your heart attack. You will never be left with your some other disease. But I think it's also beneficial to people who are worried about the heart attack. Now, some people who think about heart attack every day, but they will probably live for 100 years. For them, it will be very easy to have a sensor and be sure that I'm not heart attack today. I'm not heart attack tomorrow. And he is sure that through the cloud, this is observed by the doctor. So in a way, if you look upon these all examples which are now developed in Denmark, this is not fully replacing medicine. Medicine will never be replaced. To help the doctors to make even better job to serve the patients. So by this, I once again want to thank you, Thomas, for a brilliant presentation, and wish also we Denmark to succeed, and next time come with some real examples, and tell that we are working. And it's this ratio on return on investment is in line with what we budgeted. And I want to thank you, Dennis and Simonas, and also the audience for great questions. So thank you very much.
And I propose to have continue our discussion or over a cup of
We
coffee.
need to go down.
Yeah, downstairs.
Coffee, and we can continue.
Yes.
Thank you.